Morning, everybody. Welcome to the Senior Solutions Agency Training Call. Today is Friday. What is today's date, Jimmy? July 30th? I believe so, yeah. Welcome to the call. You got your two hosts on here, Joe Johnson and Jimmy Hernandez. And we're going to get right into the training. We've got a couple of announcements that we want to make. But we want to get right into the training part of the call, which, as you can see, the title is Door Knocking Mistakes. So today's call is not going to be on products. It's really going to be talking about door knocking, and we're kind of hitting it at a different angle. About Jimmy and I thought we'd hit it at this angle is like, what are some of the biggest mistakes that we see agents make when they're out there door knocking. So if you're checking us out, if you don't know who we are, this is Senior Solutions. If you're watching this on YouTube, we do this training call every single week. So if you need help, if you want to get contracted with us, you can contact us directly. My phone number is down there in the bottom right-hand corner. And then, Jimmy, I'm going to flip it over to you. I want you to promote your call for this coming Monday, and really, you know, all the educational calls that you do every Monday, because they're really fantastic.
Well, thank you, Joe. So this coming Monday, 6 o'clock Central, to convert or not to convert, is a Roth right for you? So we're going to talk about tax-free income in retirement. And most people that I see working with them as an investment advisor or financial planning, most of those people have a traditional, let's say, like a 401k or IRA, and so you might want to consider converting that to a Roth, and we'll talk about the benefits of that, and why, and also why maybe it wouldn't make sense, because it's not for everybody. But I can tell you, under the current I guess you can say tax bill that's being proposed, it might make sense to do it now. And so we're going to talk about that. My guest speaker, he's a friend of mine, Ruben Ruiz. He was actually named Financial Planner of the Year, and he's dedicated really his whole career to tax-free retirement. And that's what he teaches. He does workshops around the country. So it's going to be an honor to have him on. Ruben and I are not, I guess you can say, connected or work for the same firm or anything, but he just happens to be a friend of mine and an expert on the topic. So I asked him to come on. So it's going to be a great show. So back to you, Joe.
Got it. And that's going to be this coming Monday, August the 2nd at 6 p.m. Central.
Correct.
7 p.m. Eastern time. All right. Very good. And you do this call every Monday, correct?
Every Monday. The topic does change, but it's always about financial, anything that has to do with building your wealth or keeping your wealth. And so we explore different topics every week.
Got it. Awesome. All right, man. Just one real quick announcement. I had an agent that was asking me to customize, I guess you can say, a 3-option worksheet. They were looking for something that kind of broke it down for, if they have 2 people being insured. And so anyway, I put this together for this one specific agent. But if anyone would like a copy of it, if you think you'd like to use it versus the traditional one, let me know. I'll email it to you. Basically the same concept. The only difference is that you've got a place here at the top to put the first insured, what their rate is. You can write in the life insurance company and then the second insured, and then the total combined premium there, plan information, that sort of thing. So basically, if you feel like you could use it, let me know and I'll email it to you. Otherwise, just keep using the same one that you got. I just thought I would kind of share that with everybody else in case they wanted it. So new updated sales folders. You guys know that a couple of months ago, I think it was, we updated the sales folder. We made, really the only change I made to it was I took off the words whole life insurance because we have more agents that are selling other types of insurance, mortgage protection and IULs and different things. So basically the same folder, but it just says peace of mind life insurance, and then our partner companies, and we've added in a few more of the partner companies. I've got my supply closet is full of these things. I made a big order, so I'd love to be able to move them out. So we're going to have a sale on these folders going through today, July 30th through August 15th. So the next 2 weeks, if you place an order, you can get these folders for 89 cents a piece, which is about 10 cents cheaper than what they normally would be. Plus, we're including free shipping too. So I'll ship them out to you for free, 89 cents. Minimum order is 50, so you got to order at least 50 folders. So I think it's around 40, I think I did the math on it. It's $44.50 for 50 folders. So again, that's going to be for the next 2 weeks until August 15th, 2021. And if you are not subscribed to our channel, please subscribe to the channel. This is for folks that are checking us out on YouTube. Maybe you're not already with Senior Solutions, but you'd like to have access. If you subscribe to the channel, then you'll have access to the entire library. So please subscribe to the channel. Certainly it helps us out and gives you access to all of the training. All right, now we're gonna move right into mistakes that Jimmy and I have recognized that agents, I say the biggest mistakes that agents make when they're door knocking. So one thing that we recognize, Jimmy, is that it seems like a lot of people, and I've been guilty of this myself sometimes, that you just kind of go out and wing it and you're unorganized. You don't plan the night before or 2 days before. You're not using a route planner. You're not using Road Warrior or some of those other route planners. That there's a lot of good route planners out there available. We really like Road Warrior, but maybe you could talk a little bit about some things that agents could do to be maybe a little bit more organized before they go out and just take a stack of leads and plug it into their phone and start zipping all over the countryside. Uh-oh, did we lose Jimmy?
I thought I lost you. I think, I don't know, maybe we had an internet interruption or something.
Oh, okay. Did you, maybe you didn't hear, Jimmy, if you can you just expand a little bit on maybe a few tips on how to be more organized in planning your route and just getting prepared going out door knocking?
Yeah, I use a tool called Road Warrior, but it doesn't have to be Road Warrior. I've used a lot of different ones, but like on a very basic, you can go to My Maps. It's a Google app. So not Google Maps, but it's called My Maps. And so you can plug in all the addresses you want to door knock, and then it will route it out for you. The cool thing about Road Warrior is that you could, keep modifying it, or you can say, I want to start at this point, I want to end at this point. Right. And it puts everything in a nice order so that you're not driving all over town, going back and forth. You're going to drive in a, I guess you can say, in a systematic order. Typically, Joe, what I like to do is I like to, start at the closest to where my house is, and I work out to the furthest, and then I come back and I check on my tags on the way back.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can, if you want to, you can start on the furthest out and come back in, but then you're not going to be able to go back and check on the tags that you left. So
yeah, good point. That's two. I've heard it both ways. I kind of like starting closest, work out, and then work your way back. A couple of other things about being unorganized is, make sure that you've got all your forms and brochures and everything you're going to need for the day, and kind of expect the unexpected. So if you're one of those agents that says that you're only going to do e-applications and you're using your tablet, which I think is a great thing to do, but what happens if you're out door knocking and you lose power, you don't have internet, so just just have everything organized in your car where you have backup applications. So if you need to write a paper application, you have everything that you need at your access. And we did there's actually another training video about how to be organized. And I think what happens is that when you're more organized and you're not just out there flying by the seat of your pants, is that it gives you more confidence and you'll be a lot more productive, and you're not working in chaos, and it reduces anxiety when you're organized. So that's the first tip on mistakes that we see. Agents just are not organized. The second one is parking in the wrong spot. So I know agents that, they don't know where to park. Hey, should I park in the driveway? Should I park in the front? Either way is good. The biggest mistake I've heard of agents making, and when I've been out training with agents, they'll pull up to a house, they'll park in the driveway or park in the front, and then they'll sit in their car for 5 minutes, getting their leads prepared or whatever it is they need. They're not quite organized to go door knock. It's not something that you want to do. So as far as park, if it's a single family house with a driveway, man, I like zipping into the driveway, getting out of my car immediately. A lot of times I'll even leave the door open, and have my clipboard or have my single lead, however you want to do it, and briskly, as the appearance is that I'm in a hurry and I'm not going to be there for long. This way, if they're looking out the window, they can say, oh, who is this? Looks like they're going to be dropping something off, or they got something important for me to sign. So anything you'd like to add on parking in the wrong spot?
So you said park in the driveway, right?
If it's available, I like parking in the driveway. Yes.
So just think about this, Joe. If someone were to pull up to your house, parked in your driveway, and left their door open, right?
Yeah.
And either the dogs start barking and you go to the window and see what's going on, or maybe you have a camera system and you can see what's going on. But either way, you see a car in your driveway, door open, someone walking to your door. What are you going to do? You're going to open the door to see who the hell it is.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So that's the proper technique. Now, not all driveways are, have a vacancy. So sometimes you have to park, in front of the main windows in the house, in the street, but do the same thing. You want to make sure that you're coming from the wrong direction. What I mean by that is if you're driving on the right side of the road, your driver's door is not going to be visible from the house, right? So you got to the approach has to come from the other direction, and you leave the door open, and it has the same effect, and you walk up to the house quickly.
Right. Yeah.
And
good.
Wave at the house as you're walking there.
Yeah, that's another technique too that I know sounds corny, but just do it. Wave to the house and smile as if, like you think, like you're almost pretending that you see someone even though you don't, because you never know. Trust me, I've done it, and then as soon as I wave, I saw like the curtains kind of flutter a little bit, or like I didn't notice it, but like they had the mini blinds, and they were looking through there to see who's coming to their house. So just play along, and trust me, it definitely works. It's like, I see you. Bad door knocking techniques. Now this encompasses a lot of different things, but just some of the things. I'll hit on a couple of things, Jimmy, and I'll turn it over to you. As far as bad door knocking techniques, one thing that I've heard of agents doing is that they'll only go to the front door and they'll ring the doorbell. That's a mistake. A lot of the houses that we go, now a lot of times the only door you have to knock on is the front door. But if you pull into a carport, a lot of times the main entry door is on the side of the house, and that's typically where the kitchen is, and that's where most people congregate. The front of the house, a lot of times, is the living room or the sitting room, and a lot of times clients, they don't spend a lot of time there. So typically, I'll pull in, I'll do the wave, I'll do everything right, but I'll go to the side door and actually knock on the side door first. Nobody answers, I'll knock on the front door, I'll ring the doorbell, knock on the door. The other thing too is that you need to knock on the door with a sense of urgency. You don't want to hit it so hard like you break a window or anything, but you want to do it firmly, almost like a police knock, like a couple of really good raps so they know that you hear it. And especially if they have animals, if they have dogs, the dogs will respond to a door knock very, very quickly. So what else can you think of as far as things that you have noticed or heard about that would be considered a bad door knocking technique?
Door knocking too soft, like they can't hear it. Just keep in mind who our audience is. Most of these people are seniors, so maybe their hearing is not so good, and maybe they're not able to get to the door as quickly as you and I could, right?
Yeah,
So you
exactly.
give them ample time to get there. So don't assume that they didn't answer the door right away, that they're not home. Don't be in a hurry to get to the next door knock. I'm patient with it, especially if you see cars in the driveway, or you have some sort of indication that somebody's home. Then be a little bit more patient. The other thing too is make sure you're not crowding the door. Back up off the door. Again, these are seniors, right? So you don't want to scare somebody because you're overcrowding the door, especially if let's say your physique is large, right? So you might scare them. So you want to back up, smile, be friendly. I'll give it back to you, Joe.
The other thing too is if you get to a house and no one's answering, check the backyard. That's something that I have found, that I've knocked on the door, like I know somebody's home because there's all the cars are there, and I'm ringing the doorbell, I'm door knocking, I'm not seeing anybody. Man, just walk towards the backyard if it's fenced, make sure there's no dogs in there, but just kind of give a holler in the backyard, announce yourself, say hello, is anybody home, Mrs. Smith, are you there? And let them know, because sometimes what you'll find is that they're in the backyard, maybe gardening or sitting on their back deck or something like that. So the other thing too, I think, is that if this is for me, anyway, when because I think when I first got started, when it came to door knocking, I was a little bit, I don't know if the word shy, but you got to be bold. You got to think to yourself is, what if you knew that this person that filled out the lead card, what if you knew, like you had a crystal ball and you knew, they're going to die in 2 weeks from now, like, and you had to go see them. Like, you just have to have that sense of urgency. And I think when you really internalize and you really believe in what you're doing, that it's easier to become bold, and you'll make every effort possible to make sure that you're making yourself known, that if there's somebody home, by God, you're going to make sure that they know that you're there. So anyway, moving on, because we got a lot of stuff to cover. Not utilizing door tags properly. What is a door tag? Door tag is the little yellow sticky notes that say delivery notice. We call them door tags. Not using them, either not using them at all or not using them properly. So when I leave door tags, I like leaving door tags on the front door and on the side door, and sometimes I'll even leave one on the garage if it looks like they park in the garage. Sometimes I'll leave 3 door tags. So the biggest thing about door tags is that you got to use them. And the reason why is because they work, and that's one of the reasons why Jimmy and I are such big advocates of door knocking, because we know it works. And I know a lot of agents do pre-sale or preset appointments, which is great if you're calling on the phone. But here, let me ask you a question. If you're watching this video, let me ask you a question. What percentage of leads that you call that don't answer the phone and you leave a message, what percentage ever call you back? My guess is it starts with a 0. they just don't call back. I mean, and I've heard every technique there is about, you leave a message and make it sound really vague, like, hey, Mary, this is Joe, give me a call back. Maybe you get, 1 out of 100 that'll call you back. But door tags work. The reason why is because they think they're getting something was trying to be delivered. They don't know what it is. Maybe they just ordered something. Maybe they didn't order something. They're curious about what in the heck is, the delivery notice about. But Jimmy, I'll turn it over to you if there's anything as far as door tags that you'd like to add before we move into the next tip.
Yeah, Joe, the other thing is don't answer the call when you leave a door tag.
Good point.
So let's say, for example, I'll give you some examples of like what's happened to me in the field, right? I see cars in the driveway, I know they're home, but they don't answer the door, and I waited ample amount of time, so I leave a tag on the door and I drive around the corner, right? So I'm like maybe 1 or 2 blocks over. I just left and my phone rings. I already know it's the person that I tagged the door, right? So in those scenarios, you don't answer the phone. All you do is turn around and go right back and knock on the door again, and now they will open the door. So that's how you handle that. Let's say, you get to the house and let's say it doesn't look like anybody's home. There's no cars in the driveway, the blinds are closed, it's quiet, maybe they're at work, they're at a doctor's appointment, whatever, they're not home. You waited, nobody answered, you leave a door tag. Those people will typically call you back later in the afternoon when they get home. So when you get that call, just let it go to your voicemail. What will happen is they will leave a message something like this: hi, this is Joe Johnson. I got your delivery notice. I'm not sure what this is about, but I'll be here until such and such time, or I'll be here tomorrow morning at 11 if you can drop it off then. And that's the kind of messages you get. They basically tell you when they're going to be home, so you just go back.
Absolutely. That gives you an opportunity to do what we call an educated door knock. So they've already kind of given you permission to come and basically what time they're going to be. I love those messages when you get those. Next one, talking too much at the door. I think that's a big problem. Remember, when we're door knocking, not to sell at the door, we're door knocking to be able to either get in, make a presentation right then and there, or we're door knocking to book an appointment for a later time. So I've talked to many agents, Jimmy, and they're like, oh, we're coaching them on their door knocking, and they start telling me about how, oh, I went over, this is life insurance to cover your final expenses, and I'm like, well, I says, is this the presentation? Well, no, this is all at the door. So that's a problem, guys. Don't. This is I don't know if you've ever heard the saying, less is more. This is when it applies. Less is more at the door. Let the lead card do the selling for you. Your job is strictly to deliver the information in which they requested. That's it. So I know a lot of agents like to overcomplicate it, but the less talking you do at the door, the better. Anything you want to add to that?
Exactly. Yeah. Don't do, what do they call it, Joe? Diarrhea of the mouth. People
Yeah.
just go off running and running and running. They don't even, take a break for a breath. And the person at the door is just looking at them like, what the hell? Right? Keep it simple. Remember, when you're talking too much and you're trying to sell them at the door, you're not going to be successful. The odds are not going to be with you. You might get one or two, right? But you're going to lose so many more. What you want to do is you want to have the mindset of a consultant or an educator. Like Joe said, all my job is to do is to provide you the information that you requested. Do you have, a few minutes? May I come in? When you keep it simple like that and you're not trying to sell, you're going to have more people allow you to come in than not. Here,
Yeah,
I don't know if you
exactly.
want to talk about like the urgency, like you talked about a second ago, like setting up an appointment for later. Here's the thing. Let's say you knock on the door and maybe literally you see that they're leaving the house. Maybe they're about to do something, or maybe they tell you, oh man, I was about to go to the doctor's appointment, or I need to go, pick up my kid at school, or they're not available right now. Then your first option is to book an appointment with them the same day, not sometime in the future, today. So you can say, hey, well, I'm working in your area today. I can swing back by this afternoon. Is 3 o'clock sound good to you? Sometime after 3. I kind of leave it vague, like I'm not going to be there exactly at 3, but I'm going to be in your area today, working with some other people. How about this afternoon, sometime after 3? Will that work? Yeah. And now you're giving yourself some space because maybe you're tied up with another person at 3 and you're not pressed for time. And, maybe you're going back at 4. It's after 3. So that's just kind of how you play it. But try to, go for it today. If today's not possible, then you go for it tomorrow. Right. So, but I normally try not to kick it out more than 24 hours. Try to
Correct.
create that urgency. You can literally say, I'm only in your area today and tomorrow, then I'm moving on. So, I mean, what's the best time to get you? So you just kind of, push them a little bit, create a little urgency. So
Yeah,
go ahead.
exactly. Be confident enough to be able to push a little bit. Now, guys, the training that we're doing today is that we're not really getting into handling objections or covering the scripts. Trust me, there's tons of training that we have available on that, and Jimmy and I are both willing to work with you one-on-one to help you cover that. So the other mistake that, and I think I did this in the beginning, is that you take too much stuff to the door. You got your backpack or your portfolio, whatever it is you're taking, briefcase, taking that to the door. Again, keep it simple. You want to give the appearance that you're only stopping by just for a second. So, either go up with just your clipboard in the leads or a lead card, or just go up with, I know, one of our most successful agents, The only thing he takes to the door is the lead card. Like for that specific client, that's it. Doesn't take anything else. So not a lot to really expand on that, but you know, take that, and then when you, if you're going to get into the house right then you know, some agents will go into the house, start talking a little bit, and then go back out and get their portfolio with the sales folder. I usually do it right there while they're waiting at the door. So I'll go up, I'll have my lead card, I do my present, you know, my script at the door. They say, yeah, I've got a few minutes. No problem, Mrs. Smith. I put a folder together for you. Let me just go grab it. And I'll have my portfolio right there sitting in the front seat or right there on the center console. Grab it. And then while they're waiting at the door, we're both walking back in together. So that's it on that. Anything you want to add to that?
That's exactly how I do it, Joe. So
Yeah,
perfect.
no, yeah. Next is dressing properly. You know, dress according to the weather, obviously, but man, don't go out in a suit and tie, and don't wear shorts and flip flops. So I think a lot has to do with your confidence and how you present yourself. I know when I was first getting into the insurance business at a seminar or like a sales training that I was at too, one of the speakers said, you know, never wear blue jeans. No one's going to take you serious if you wear jeans. To be honest, I only wear jeans. I have some like comfortable black dress pants too, but um, you know, I think it more has to do with the way you present yourself. If you're clean cut looking, and if I wear jeans, I've got good, nice shoes on. I've got a nice polo shirt on. My name, I mean, I look, you know, my shirt's tucked in. I'm not, you know, I'm not looking, I'm looking professional, even though I have jeans. If you're new to door knocking and maybe your confidence level isn't as high, you know, maybe throw on a, you know, a pair of khakis or some comfortable, you know, dress pants. If you're a female, you know, maybe a pair of nice dress slacks and a nice top. But just I guess the biggest thing, Jimmy, the biggest mistakes I guess I see agents make, well, is overdressing, like wearing a suit and tie. And then I did take this one guy out in Northern Illinois, a new agent, and we were training, and I met him up there, and he was a construction guy and couldn't do construction anymore. And when I went to pick him up, he was dressed like he was going to go build a house or something. Like he had work boots on, he had a like kind of a grungy looking baseball cap on,
Oh
and
my.
I'm like, dude, that ain't gonna work. like, like, you know, we're not gonna go. We're not going there to build a deck, or you know, we're going there to as financial consultants and you know, financial services, not construction. So again, just you know, dress. I think we all know what dressing properly means.
Yeah, and Joe, I'll tell you this. I mean, like you said in the beginning, dress appropriately for the weather. Down here in South Texas, not only is it hot, it's very humid, right? So like jeans would just be brutal over here.
Got
So
it. Okay.
what I like to wear are golf pants. And if you don't know what golf pants are, basically it's like a really thin nylon, very breathable material. And you can typically pick up, you know, like let's say an off-brand at Academy Sports, really cheap if there's an Academy around you. But I mean, or even Walmart. But like, just get you some really nice, comfortable. Maybe it's not so hot where you're at. Maybe just wear some khakis or something, or
Yep.
jeans like Joe. I can tell you when it gets really really hot, some of my guys wear shorts. You know, they wear their Senior Solutions shirt, and like Richard Luna is the one primary guy, or Marvin Baker, they'll, Bobby Yuns, they go out with like khaki kind of shorts with
Yeah.
Solutions shirt and a ID badge, and they do just fine. But again, it has to do with the heat. Myself, I don't like that because I'm thinking, if somebody's coming to my door in shorts and a polo shirt with the ID badge, it's probably a salesman. That's just my thought. But hey, these guys did really well doing it that way. So I think what you said, being the overdress, is probably the worst thing that you can do. You're just going to scare people. So
Very good. I know a lot of agents in Florida do shorts because like everybody wears shorts. Like, your clients are wearing shorts. Like it's no big deal. Like, but anyway, I guess I'm used to being up where it doesn't get as hot or humid as Florida or Texas. Not wearing an ID badge, huge mistake, guys. If you don't have an ID badge, if you're just out there door knocking, using your business card or whatever, huge mistake. Wear your ID badge. It gives you, I guess, a sense of professionalism, and gives your client more confidence that you've got a photo ID badge, uh, versus not. I've been using ID badges. I don't think I invented it, but when I first got started, I was the first person in my group to come up with, hey, how about an ID badge? Make yourself look official. So just make sure that if you don't have an ID badge, make sure that you order one, or make one yourself. However you want to do it. You just need to have one that looks professional. What else? Oh, not following the door knock script. Man, I've heard some crazy door knocking scripts. I've had agents call me, like we'll train. I'll give them the door knock script, and then I'll be coaching them. I'm like, all right, man, go over the script. Like they weren't having success, and then they go over. I said, just give me your script, not how you think I want to hear it, but exactly what it is you said. And it's something like they're selling at the door. It's completely different. Oh, well, my script has a lot more information, included. And again, it goes back to less is more, man. You just got to follow the simplified door knock script that's only a couple of sentences. So if you don't know it, you need it. You need to get trained on it. We've got plenty of training online. We can cover, help coach you and go over the door knock script. Jimmy, you jump in anytime you want to hit anything, but I want to get through everything. We got a lot more tips to cover in the next 20 minutes. All right, not hitting up the neighbors. Jimmy, I'll let you handle this because I know you're the master at it, but why don't you talk to us about being observant and taking notice of maybe some neighbors that maybe happen to be out, and talk about clover leafing a little bit.
Okay. Well, in general, I think the biggest mistake we make as new agents, right? Because it's usually the new agents that make these mistakes, is that we put ourselves in this box and we say, okay, we got to do it exactly. I'm only going to do it this way. Like we try to get too formal with it. And so what I'm going to try to tell you is that you just need to think normal, like use common sense and think outside of the box. Okay. So if I'm going up to going up to door knock and I see a neighbor's outside, maybe they're watering the grass or maybe they're gardening. I've even seen people like cutting the grass, right? I'll go interrupt them. I'll walk right up to them. I'll say hi. I always smile as I approach them. I not just smile, like that big smile, like this.
Mm-hmm.
It disarms people. So you give them that really huge smile. You wave. they can't help but be friendly, right? Even the people that are ornery will like be nice to you. And then you just simply say, hey, I came over here to see, Betty, your neighbor, but I just wanted to, check with you. We mailed out these cards talking about the state regulated programs for final expense, but we did not get a card back from you. And I just wanted to make sure that you didn't miss it because, we're in open enrollment right now while I'm here, something to that effect. Guys, they're either interested or they're not. I've had people say, really, what is that? Oh, I didn't see that. Oh, yeah, I'm interested. They want to know. They don't want to miss out. And that's what you're looking for. And I've had other people say, oh, no, I'm not interested. That's why I didn't send it back. Okay, cool. Some people say, well, I'm kind of interested in it, but I'm busy right now. No, I understand you're busy. I'm going to be in this, in the neighborhood today. Why don't I swing back a little bit later this afternoon, sometime after 3? Would that work for you? Okay, great. So, I mean, that that's the way you want to do it. Now, as far as the clover leaf goes, what you want to do, and I kind of do this ahead of time, Joe. So like when I'm routing out my leads and I'm preparing, I use the White Pages app. Like most of the people on this call probably remember the White Pages phone book that we used to get, right? And it had everybody's name and phone number and address, right? Well,
Yeah.
if you download the White Pages app to your smartphone, you can plug in an address and it'll tell you who lives there by name and what their age is. So on the back of my lead cards, I'll put the addresses next door on the right and the left, and the address directly across the street. This is what they call the clover leaf. And then I write the names of those people and how old they are, right? So then I can go next door, whether my door knock is successful, or they don't answer, I had to leave a door tag or whatever. I'm going to go to the house next door and I'm going to say, hi, I'm going to ask for the person by name. Is David here? And let's say David answers the door. Oh, I'm David. Hey, David, my name's Jimmy. I'm with, Senior Solutions or Senior Benefits. The reason why I came is because we mailed this card to you, and I just go through the same pitch, but we didn't get a response back. Your
Yeah.
neighbor, I was visiting your neighbor Betty next door. I just wanted to make sure you didn't miss out on this opportunity. They always say, well, what is it? Oh, well, this is making sure that you have all your final arrangements already taken care of. Do you have something in place to take care of your final arrangements? That's how I talk about it. And they usually say no. In most cases, people say no. So, okay, well, do you have a minute? I'd love to tell you about the program. You're eligible for these benefits. May I come in? Boom, and you get in. So now you're turning one lead into, basically additional leads because you paid for the one lead, but now you got 3 more doors to knock. And
Yeah.
especially if you see them outside.
Yeah. Great tip. A lot of us don't take advantage of this, guys. This is a great way, like Jimmy said, take that one lead, create it into 4 leads total. The lead plus the 2 houses on the side, the house across the street. Man, start clover leafing, and trust me, it works. Works very, very well. You just never know.
And Joe, I mean, I really, there's countless numbers of sales I've made doing it that way. And I just think back and I'm like, wow, man, what happened? What would have my income looked like if I didn't do that? I would have just wasted money on the lead. I mean, now I'm giving myself opportunity to make additional sales.
Absolutely, man. Great, great point. Door knocking the wrong hours. Well, here's what I can tell you. There's no bad time to door knock, really. Just like there's no bad time to pick up a phone and call for preset appointments, but there are better times. The biggest mistake I see agents make, Jimmy, is that they start too late and they quit too early.
Yep.
Like they don't start knocking on their, like, I don't want to bother anybody early in the morning. I don't want to door knock, start my door knocking till 10 o'clock in the morning. Man, you've already missed it. You got to get out there early before those clients decide to go to the grocery store, or maybe they have a doctor's appointment or whatever. So, if you're going to take a break at any time during the day, it would be kind of in the middle of the day when a lot of people are not home. So it's better to door knock early in the morning. I know some agents that are, out as early as 8:30. I usually try to time mine where my first door knock is either right at 9 o'clock or maybe even a little bit before. I don't think 8:30 is, most of our seniors are already, they've probably been up since 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning anyway. So start early, and then work later in the afternoon, because you're going to catch a lot of these. Sometimes you have seniors that do work part-time jobs during the day, and they're not getting home until 4:30, 5 o'clock at night. So if you need to take a break kind of in the middle of the day and door knock early, like, before 9 o'clock until, noon or 1 o'clock, and then go back out at, 4:30 or 5 and catch people in the evening time. Anything you want to add about door knocking hours?
I think that the sweet spots are early and later in I'm going to say late afternoon, 4:30, 5 and
Yeah.
later.
Yeah.
So I try to stay busy, like with preset appointments or, follow-ups or whatever. Like if you can fill your midday with actual presentations and sits, and then you can finish strong by door knocking, you'll be successful. I mean,
Absolutely.
typically what I would do, like let's say I'm having a bad day, Joe, hadn't done a presentation yet. I will hang out and I'll wait till 4:30, and then I'll start door knocking again. Now I didn't come home, I'm still out in the field, but maybe I took a break, went and got something to eat or whatever, cooled off a little bit. But when you start, my thing was I'm gonna start door knocking again at 4:30 until I get a presentation.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very rare that I would have to go very long, because you're going to start catching people at home.
Yeah.
And then sometimes, it just depends how determined you are. Sometimes I tell them I'm not going home until I get my app count for the day. Maybe it's 2 or maybe it's 3. And so I might be door knocking to 6 or 7 or 8 o'clock p.m. But I mean, that's just, my personal determination. Just depends, what I have going on. I think if it's early in the week, I'm going to be more aggressive. Usually by midweek, I already hit the numbers I want for the week. So maybe, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I'm not going to be so aggressive, right? Take a little easier.
Right.
But until you get the numbers that you want, you got to put yourself in front of the people. You don't go home early.
Right. Absolutely. All right, let's see what else we got. Not offering everyone a free quote. Okay, guys, here's the thing. What we mean by this is that it's important, even if the client says they're not interested, give them a quote. I learned this a long time ago, that give everyone a proposal. Like, no, at least give them the opportunity to say no. And even if you can't get in, like if they're just shutting you down, a lot of times what I'll do is like, you know what, I'm already here. Let me at least give you a free quote while I'm here. And, I'll pull out now, trust me, this is the last ditch effort. This is not what you typically would want to do, is give them quotes on their porch. But if that's all you can do, then that's all you can do. So they're not booking an appointment. They're not letting you in the house. I'm not leaving until I give them a free quote. Okay, because you never know. Maybe when they, see the number, they may say, "Oh, well, that's pretty good. I've made sales like that. Oh, that's not as much as I thought it would be." And if you present it the right way, where you're letting the client know, say, "Hey, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, I don't work for an insurance company. I'm a state licensed broker. So I have the ability to shop a bunch of different companies, and especially you can show them, especially utilizing FEX Toolkit. You just plug everything right in there, get a quote, and you can scroll through and you can show them all the different companies and all the different rates that are available. And you never know, man. You may make a sale by this kind of and again, this is like the last ditch effort before you leave, is give everybody a quote, because you never know. You got to show them the numbers. Okay. What do you think, Jimmy?
You're exactly right. I mean, I think the mistake that most agents make is, in their mind, they say, I'm not going to give this guy a quote unless they let me present, unless they let me, tell them everything I want to tell them. And that's a mistake.
Yes.
So,
Good
again,
point. And we should talk about that you need to learn to be adaptable.
yep.
And I've made some of my best sales where the client was like, just tell me how much it is. That's a buyer. That's somebody that is, and then you're like, well, it really depends upon this and that, and I really need to sit down for, if we could have a seat for 5. Well, I don't want to sit down. Can you just tell me how much it is? Well, not unless I can make be adaptable and give the client what they want, because you never know, man.
That's exactly right. There's been several like stories that kind of come to mind that I got rejected while door knocking, but I use this as a last reproach. And I just want to emphasize on that. Don't make this your norm, quoting at the door. Make this
Right.
only for the last resort. You're getting rejected. You've tried to get in, you're not getting in, you're gonna go home, right? I always look at it as, well, look, I paid $30 for this lead. I'm gonna at least give them a quote, right? So then that's what I tell them. I said, look, you requested this information. I'm going to make this real easy for you. Let me just, give you a really quick quote. If you're interested, you let me know. If not, don't worry about it. And I just, calculate it. So let's talk about the calculation. Just assume good health, right? At this point, you're just trying to give them a quote. You're not trying to ask health questions and
Right.
pre-screen them. Just assume they're in good health, non-tobacco, and write it up. And then you can just put, good health, write it on the 3-option quote: good health, non-tobacco, age, 62, and then just kind of size them up. Look, I usually go for 10, 15, or 20,000, just depending on, what I'm thinking is going to, meet their needs. Or in some cases, maybe I go down, I go 5,000, right? But so I just give them a quick quote and give it to them, and then it sparks another whole conversation. Well, this is cheaper than what I thought, or what is this? And now you open the door for conversation.
Exactly.
But I mean, I just tell you one quick story. I remember one time knocking on the door over here in San Antonio, in the heart of the West Side. So I'm talking about like the hood, and I'm not talking about like West San Antonio. I'm talking about inner West Side. And I knocked on the door. Actually, I didn't get to knock on the door. They had a fence all the way around the front, and but they were outside working. The husband was working on the car, and the wife was, I think, just giving them water or something, right? And it was an elderly couple, and I tried to get their attention. They weren't like noticing me, so I used my clipboard and tapped on the fence, and then she came. They rejected me because they were busy, and I said, hey, well, let me just give you a quick quote. I gave her a quick quote. She thought it was very reasonable. She said, you know what, tell me more about this. Come on in here. And we sat down in the front yard on these little flimsy like chairs. And Joe, I was a lot heavier than I am now. I thought I was gonna break the chair, right? I was like sitting on the tip of it, trying not to fall. It was
Right.
in the middle of the summer. I mean, I was sweating profusely. And I wrote 2 apps right then and there. And they were small. I think they were like little $5,000 face amounts. But then later, she called me and she says, you know what, Jimmy, I really liked liked your presentation. I think we want to go ahead and get more. And then I ended up going back out a couple of months later, and I wrote the biggest, to this day, the biggest final expense monthly premium, and it was like $246 or something
Sweet.
for simplified issue. But I wouldn't have got it if I didn't, give that initial quote and wrote the first $5,000 face.
Right.
I mean, that's what you got to do. You just got to throw it out there.
Exactly. And I don't think we have this as one of the mistakes, but, and I should have, I didn't think about it, and you touched on it, is don't make the mistake that your presentation has to be perfect and it has to be at the kitchen table or in the living room. As agents, we need to learn to be adaptable and be able to do a presentation anywhere. And that's why the clipboard is so great, because you can kind of use that as a table. I know Jimmy and I have written many policies, like give you some examples, like in the front yard, on the front porch, on the hood of a car, on a trash can, in my car, because the client didn't want me to come in. So we sat in my car, turned the AC on, and did the whole presentation in the front seat of my car with my client in the passenger seat. So it's not always going to be perfect. The scenario when you're out making presentations, it's not always going to be picture perfect. So as an agent, you just have to learn to go with the flow and be adaptable. And then the next thing we want to talk about is always have a sense of urgency, and we've already kind of alluded to this or touched on that, especially when you're door knocking and the client doesn't seem like they're available. Let them know, but that, hey, I'm only in this area for a limited time. They say I can come back. They don't seem to be real busy and say, well, now's not a good time. Mr. and Mrs. Client, I totally understand. Now's not a good time. I promise you, this only takes 5 minutes. I'd love to be able to come back and meet with you, but I got to be honest, it's really hard to get back for just one person. I'm in the area today. I'm going to be in the northern part of the county, for the next 2 weeks. Can you just give me 5 minutes? I promise. Let me go over the program. Let me show you how it works, and I'll answer all your questions and get out of your hair. Just give me 5 minutes. And then 5 minutes turns into 10 minutes, and then 20 minutes, and an hour later, they're hugging you, and they're so happy that they got a policy. So just have that sense of urgency that it's not something that they want to delay on, and that your time is important, that you're just not willy-nilly can come back at any time they want. You've got a schedule that you need to keep, and that your time is important too. That's all part of the sense of urgency. You're here now, I'm here now. It only takes a couple of minutes. Let me show you how the programs work. Takes 5 minutes. May I come in? That's it. Let's see, man. There's more information. I should have allowed more time for this. Let's get through these other ones. Not sounding too salesy. I think we kind of touched on that already, right, Jimmy?
Yep.
Let's kind of fly through that. Just kind of stick to the script, man. Don't change up the script, and don't think that you have to have some great sales pitch at the door. Just keep it simple. Deliver the information. Believing the prospect's excuses. Oh, I don't have time right now. I'm leaving in 5 minutes or whatever. Man, just remember, your job is to deliver the information in which they requested. So whatever excuse they give you, the rebuttal can almost be the same one. Well, I don't have time right now. I understand, Mrs. Smith, you don't have time. It's really hard for me to get back for one person. I promise, my job is simply just to deliver the information you requested. It only takes 5 minutes. Let me go over the program. I'll answer all your questions, get out of your hair. Fair enough? That seems I've used that for years, and it seems to overcome any of the excuses. They're just they're just making up excuses to get you out of their hair, okay? Because realistically, they know that they're probably going to end up buying something. So sometimes the people that give you the biggest excuses up front will turn out to be your best clients. And then Jimmy, I'll let you talk about this one about prejudging. I put up those slides that you gave me about prejudging. You got a house on the left and a house on the right.
So I sold policies at both of these locations. Let's start with the one on the left. We see this a lot in San Antonio where there's a fence. You can see all those three houses. They all have a fence all the way in the front. You're not going to be able to actually knock on the door. So to adapt to that, there's two things you can do. One, you use your clipboard and you knock on the fence and until somebody comes out, right? Or honk the horn. That's what I do too. I honk the horn, but don't prejudge. I mean, you're thinking, oh my God, this is horrible. And what's not in this picture on the house on the left was the pit bull that was walking around. He just happened not to be in that picture. But I was like, oh my God, when I knocked on that fence, man, that dog came out. I was like, oh Lord, good thing, these pit bulls are not tall, right? Because if it jumped over that fence, it'd be in trouble.
Yeah.
So I knocked, I honked my horn. Nobody came out. That's the guy's van right there. But nobody came out. So I left a door tag on the fence. And I left, and literally, like, I don't know, let's say 7, 8 minutes later, he called me. That means that he was probably watching from the window or something, right?
Yeah.
So I just went right back. I knocked on the fence again, and he came out this time, and he wanted to know what it was about. And I showed him the card. He opened the gate, came out. We wrote the app on the trunk of my car on the clipboard. So I did a presentation standing up on the sidewalk and wrote him up, and he's still in the books today. So don't prejudge. The one on the right, I actually think this was in Houston. The one on the left was in San Antonio. And on that one, no, that wasn't Houston. That was Corpus Christi. So on this one in Corpus, I'm thinking, are you serious? That's what came to my mind. Are you serious? That's where my lead's at. These people don't, what's wrong? They don't have like plumbing or electricity. Why are they living in the tent? And I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to door knock it anyway, right? So I walk up to the house, I door knocked it. It turns out, Joe, that the kids wanted to, go camp out. So they pitched the tent in the front. The kids spent the night there. Go figure. But I wrote that policy too, so that's kind of a funny one. But you cannot prejudge the book by its cover. So that's the main, I guess, takeaway on this.
Yeah, I can try. Yeah, I can tell you, man, never prejudge a house. Now, I'll let you cover this one too, since you sent me this photo. What do you mean by like wasting your time with unqualified people?
So, I door knocked the house on this one. The lady that answered the door says, oh, that's my brother. He lives in the back. I said, okay. So she walked me around to the back. He lived in a shed, Joe. Literally, this was a shed with electricity, but no plumbing, right? I mean, I'm talking about like a garden shed. That's what he lived in. And so he was very interesting looking, to say the least, right? He said he was like Apache Indian or something like that.
Yeah.
And so I gave him the benefit of the doubt. I did not prejudge. This guy went to show me all of his different Indian collections of like little things that he collected, signs. And, I couldn't get him to talk about what I was there to talk about. So I realized, two things. One, he probably needs it more than anybody else, right? But um, he wasn't there. His agenda was he was bored, he was lonely, and he just wanted to spend time with me, right? I could have probably spent 2 3 hours with this guy and it would have been interesting and all, but then I'm losing selling time, right? So don't waste your time with people that are just lonely and bored, right? You have to at some point make that determination. Am I wasting time? And if so, just politely tell them, you have an appointment and you need to move on. Oh, I'm running short. It's been so great talking to you, but I don't want to be late for my next appointment. I got to run. See you later, alligator.
Yeah,
But he was a
exactly.
pretty cool guy. I mean, he was very interesting. He told me some whoppers, right? So
That's
anyway,
funny that was he posing for this picture?
yes, he wanted me to take his picture.
Wow. Okay. All right. Um, guys, I know it's kind of counterintuitive. We're talking about don't prejudge, but then the next slide we're talking about don't wasting your time. Sometimes you just gotta, if you think you just got somebody who's really wasting your time and they just want to talk and you kind of already concluded they have they have no means to pay for it, whatever, just kind of cut to the chase. And that's what I do. So, you know what? Bob, I'd love to spend 3 hours with you. I've got an appointment I got to get to. I'm here. Let me just give you a quote real quick. Man, I just give them the numbers. Say, here's what you need to lay out. Is this going to work for you? And just cut to the chase, give them the numbers, and either, then you can filter through their excuses. Oh, I don't have any money. I don't have a bank account, whatever. You're wasting your time. Man, get out of there. Save, the worst thing you could do is spend an hour, 2 hours with somebody who can't purchase, doesn't want to purchase, and like they're just looking for a friend. So you just got to be. It's kind of a fine line that you have to go there. And then about getting discouraged, Jimmy and I both know, man, it's so easy to get discouraged out there. You get door slammed in your face. You spent $30 on leads. The the clients have no interest. What I can promise you is that if you stick to the program and you keep doing the right thing for long enough, that good things are going to happen. If you follow everything that Jimmy and I are talking about today, and you've got people to go see, and you're following the system, you're clover leafing, you're doing everything. Like this sign says, everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face. We go out, man, our intentions are good. We got a great plan. And then we get punched in the face a couple of times and we get discouraged and we go home. No, man, you got to just keep going. It's not about how many times you get hit. It's about how many times you get hit, but you keep getting up and you keep fighting. You got to have that intestinal fortitude to be able to fight through getting discouraged. And, I think in this business, it's not necessarily about how talented you are. It's about perseverance, man. It's being able to just, no matter what, is keep your faith and know that, you know what, it's a numbers game. Keep going out and you see enough people, you make enough presentations, and it's gonna work out. You're gonna get, out of those 10 leads, you're gonna get 2, 3, maybe 4 people that are solid that you can actually make a presentation. But you got to be able to get through the numbers, man. And man, just don't get discouraged. And then we've got not tracking your activity. Guys, you got to use the activity. You got to track your numbers, right, Jimmy?
You
And
gotta
I,
try.
and I think if you're not tracking your numbers, it's probably because you don't want to face reality. You know what I mean? Like you don't have enough leads, you're not door knocking enough, you're not making enough phone calls, and you don't really like inside, you're thinking to yourself, I don't want to see my numbers. Man, you gotta, it's like looking at your bank account. Do you not look at your bank account? Or do you just go out and randomly write checks and use your credit card without ever looking at your bank account? you got to know how much money you have in your bank. You got to look at your statement and see how much you're spending and what your revenue is, how much are you getting in deposits, tracking your financial inventory. Man, same thing with your activity. You've got to track your activity, or you'll never really know how you're doing. You'll never know. And I know we're running over. I think this is the last one. Not enough leads. You know, agents, one of the biggest mistakes I see agents is that they don't have enough leads, or they think to themselves, Jimmy, well, if I can't, I can't door knock unless I can afford the $30 leads. That's not true. You can door knock B leads. You can door knock from we've got plenty of agents that have bought leads from the aged lead store for like, some of those are like 25, 50 cents, 25 cents. I think the most expensive ones are like $1 something. We've got the direct mail mortgage protection leads. Man, you just got to initially, especially if you're tight on funds, don't worry about it. You got to be able to go out and knock on a whole bunch of doors, regardless of what the lead type is. So you got to have more leads than you have time, I always like to say. And I believe that's it. Anything you want to expand on about is not enough leads, and then I know we went way over.
I mean, if you don't have enough leads, you need to create some, right? So, I
Right.
mean, the easiest way is to buy them. Depending on your budget, maybe you need to buy some of the low, cost, refurbished leads. Like you got Need a Lead. You have some from YIG. Get those cheap ones.
Internet
Because
lead, they got leads as cheap by county, leads as cheap as $4
yeah,
for internet leads. You just got to have enough people to go see. Don't think that you only have to door knock direct mail leads. It could be an internet lead. It could be those aged lead store, which are aged internet leads. We've had a ton of agents that have had success with those.
you can Cloverleaf, those leads. You could
Yeah,
also go ahead and just randomly door knock. I've done that before, Joe. Like when I first started and ran out of leads,
absolutely.
I remember just door knocking, down the street, until I got something. I mean, I'll tell you this, that it's a lot more doors that you got to knock on, and before you get a presentation. But I mean, if you got no money, what else you gonna do, right? You got to get out there and hustle. It's up to you. What do you want to do?
Right.
Um,
And you can always use just any lead will work regardless. Just use the White Pages app. Pick a neighborhood that looks like it's kind of the prime spot for final expense, and just use a random lead and say, use the script that Jimmy had presented and just use the White Pages. You already know their name and their age, whether or not they'd be a pretty good candidate for it. But guys, I feel like this has been longer than I expected, so I do apologize. I appreciate everybody that stuck around to the very end. This is definitely going to be a great fundamental call for every agent that wants to up their game in door knocking to be able to view. So, Jimmy, I'll let you sign us off, and then we'll go ahead and end the call.
all right. Well, good selling, everybody. Y'all get out there and door knock. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you next Friday.
Thanks, buddy. All right, everybody, take care. God bless.